Hello, and welcome to my August 19th update for my GTNH playthrough. Honestly, today didn't really get too much done, didn't have a lot of time to play, but that doesn't mean what I got done was any less satisfying to me. So I'm standing here because I was doing a bunch of research. You can see my warp is at 64 currently. That's just because I've been plowing through the Thaumanomicon here. See my basics, I got 21 out of 21, 40 out of 40, and I've just been going down trying to do everything 75 of 75, even to the point I accidentally killed my node in here, so I had to, this is a brand new one, but earlier today I made it so the Nexus and pure bees I had, because I'd never actually bred for stats since I only really cared about their effect. I did breed them so that I can put them underground or in rain or whatever. I don't really care about their output, but I bred them properly for if for some reason I ever need temporal combs more than the few I'll need to finish out this task. So did a ton of research today, but more importantly, I did in fact finish. You can see this whole area down here is a lot cleaner. I finished putting or partitioning and creating my 69 aspect 64K cells. So all of these, I have one 64K essential cell in here for every single aspect. The only thing I haven't done, because I'm a long way from needing it, but I will need to once I set up the bees, is I'm gonna put one more or a void jar right here that is at super low priority, and we'll just void whatever ends up filling up over here just to keep all the bees running and prevent that from backing up. Down here I set these guys up. These two jars I just found a few minutes ago. I thought I had poured all my Essentia into the system, but this guy's on a export bus at the moment. I originally had a bunch of import buses set up, and I was putting all these jars in front of them and draining them. Now I just have them directly hooked up to these alvemics, and at some point, maybe, I don't know if I'll bother crafting it, because in theory, once I get the bees, I shouldn't need to worry about Essentia basically ever again, or at least for long enough to the future to not feel like ever again. But I don't have anything in here right now. I really should be keeping these full to get all the different, like, for example, I need a bunch of water to create these guys. Yeah, it was to create these Essentia reservoirs. I need some water, and I think I also need water. Yeah, more importantly need water for this one. So basically trying to like buffer out my Essentia. I think realistically what I should do is make enough for 9 and then use those 9 on the first bee to then start filling up the Essentia to create the next 9 and so on and so forth. But I haven't really laid out the path of how much Essentia I need for all of them besides crafting. I know for these I need this Tempest aspect, so I have a ton of clocks crafting at the moment. And I don't have anything currently crafting for this Mito, but we'll see about that. But yeah, honestly, either way, super happy to have this all set up. Although now I think about it, since I've set up this infusion provider with all this stuff, I have not actually tried to do an infusion yet to make sure it works. But pretty sure it should. Worst case, I think the only thing I can think of that might be wrong is if this needs to be moved closer, but this guy should have a range of 12, so I imagine this should be close enough, but things for another day. So like I said, the only other thing I was doing besides messing up or screwing with those bees was and doing a bunch of crafting, or not crafting, researches, now that I have that machine, was getting rid of my warp. So I ended up having to roll back the server earlier, basically going to tell a little tale. So originally my plan was, instead of cheesing getting rid of the warp, which if you don't know, and what I ultimately end up doing, is you can use this soul razor right here, drop it on top of this container of Mortis, connect it to this guy. It doesn't need to be a very big energized node. and then just drop a piece of TNT, log off, let it explode, and all your permanent warp is gone. You just stay logged out. I don't know how long you actually need to stay logged out for, but I usually just stay logged out for a minute. But instead of cheesing it like that, I figured now that I have AE, I could do it properly and it wouldn't be as annoying. But what happened was I had set it up in here with an AE connection. I had set it up so that I was automatically putting Mortis into the network. Like I had one of those down there set up to receive items to constantly keep the Mortis full, and I was just going to use that. I was like, I'll do it legit. But turns out this, when you have all your warp in here, starts tainting the land around it. So I had all this like white was all covered in like this flux stuff. The roof it was on all the floors below it. So I was like, all right, I'll just start to deal with the warp. Sorry, this was also over here to get rid of my sticky warp. If you don't know, you can get rid of your sticky warp with flux scrubber. What does it have? Deadly gaze for next 4 minutes. Good stuff. So this is what I've been doing to get rid of my sticky warp. But I decided I just needed to. I was gonna do this, try to do a proper setup. But I did that. This whole land ended up being tainted. I was trying to get some silverwoods to grow to fix it properly, and then I just gave up. And I rolled back the server, took back all that progress because it was just there was tainted land everywhere. It was just a giant mess, and it was going to take way longer to fix than just say screw it, start the day over. Essentially, really wanted to get rid of the warp though because honestly, these effects like this drive me nuts. And then yesterday, in particular, while I was finishing up the Essentia cells, in the course of like a half hour, I got attacked by Endermen, fiery bats. I had some Eldritch construct come and attack me, and that one even netted me a trophy. And then, I think I got flux sickness and so, like the other effects where you're not hungry, like it just non-stop persistent. Yeah, I got to see right here. This thing popped out and tried to kill me yesterday. It was just driving me nuts. Some of the sicknesses are particularly bad because they like actively damage you. So if you're trying to do anything like like say I was clicking here and trying to finish this, you'd take a piece of damage and that resets to 0. So it was just driving me nuts. So I needed to get rid of it. Right now, as I power through all this research, I'm basically keeping an eye on it to keep it under 200, assuming the wiki is right. 200's when a wither will spawn. I've only gotten, I think the highest I got was like 90 something though before I took care of it because a lot of it's been sticky. And then just to have that flux pop up there, I'll just drop a stack of shards or whatever into here, and then the flux ends up pouring out and you can clean up with this guy. And then, slowly getting rid of my sticky. But that is basically my plan for the rest of the night, is to do as much damage in this guy as I can, knocking out, so I can just get rid of the warp. I definitely, because warp drives me nuts so much, and I really don't like the mechanic. I want to be done with this. I don't really know when it's coming, but at some point 2.8 is coming, and I assume they'll probably do something eventually to fix this Soul Brazier exploit, or mechanic, whatever you want to call it. I'm alright with calling it an exploit. That as part of the game I'm taking advantage of, just because, like I said, look at this. My vision's screwed up for the next 4 minutes, and I've got, it's just annoying. So I'll get it. My goal is to knock out every single research, wipe the warp, and then never have to worry about it again. And then, in the meantime of doing that, keeping these guys full to basically get the initial items crafted to set up the first bee, to then make it easier to craft more and more bees. And the only other, once I do that, there's the other thing was there's basically 3 goals. Set up the bees is the one. And probably the easiest, though, the little bit more monotonous. There's this guy, make the planar vortex. This was the item I was trying to think of yesterday that I was trying to think of that you need to essentially craft or set up, which I'm going to set up outside here is the goal. And then once that's set up, I can make the crystalline disposable wand, which will then let me do the wand progression. And once you have the wand progression, you can actually set up some auto crafting for this. But because auto crafting magic stuff, we need this arcane assembler. Craft the arcane assembler, we need this thaumium based silver wood scepter, which I tried crafting. I just do not have the ability to make this thing at the moment. This was 230 something, so that's a lot. I need that crystalline thing. Even with all the discounts, I'm nowhere close to being able to make this. But once I can make that, I can start auto crafting. The rest of this is really easy. All these aspects, not this besides the scepter, is very easy to make. But once I make this, I can start auto crafting. So that's basically point number 2 in a long shell. And then the third would be automating the crucible, or I think I'm not even sure what the bigger version's called. I think it's like the Thaumatorium or something like that. I've never really been a fan of Thaumcraft. Like I said, AE making it way better. It has been a lot more enjoyable, and even though I can actually craft the ender chest and stuff, I am feeling more motivated to finish this out now because of specifically the way AE is integrated with the magic here. It's making it bearable. But I did set myself up, as you can see here, I've got these sensors. I think I got the ender, the dense endurium plates. So I'll be able to craft the chests and the the ender tanks as well that I need to set up a bunch of miners and do all that. And we'll be able to progress here in technology in a little bit. Hopefully the magic will only take me another day or so, and then I'll move on for a good while. But appreciate everyone for watching. I'm gonna get back to, I'm gonna let this guy grow a little bit more before I accidentally destroy this node again, and then I'll knock out some more researches and try to get the Thaumonomicon done. Thank you all for watching. I hope everybody has a good night.